Have you ever noticed that climbing stairs feels a bit steeper these days? That standing up from your favorite chair takes just a few seconds longer than before? And despite eating well, walking regularly, and following what you were told is healthy, your legs still feel tired, almost like they're betraying you? Last week, I met a man named Paul. He's 68, retired Navy, walks every morning, eats fruits every day, especially pineapple and bananas. He told me, "Doc, I do everything right. But my knees burn at night. My ankles swell for no reason. I used to hike, now I fear a trip to the mailbox." What if I told you, Paul's routine isn't wrong, but one small part of it is silently working against him? You see, as we age, our circulation slows, our blood vessels become fragile, and even healthy foods we grew up loving, like sweet fruits, can trigger inflammation, raise blood sugar, and quietly weaken our legs over time. And the worst part? Most people never realize the connection, until walking becomes painful. In today's video, we're going to uncover 5 common fruits that may be harming your legs, and you likely eat them every week. But don't worry, I'm also going to share gentle, science-backed alternatives that help your legs stay strong, balanced, and pain-free, because eating well shouldn't cost you your strength. We'll break it down together, one fruit at a time, with real stories, simple science, and clear takeaways for your daily life. Getting older doesn't mean giving up strength. It just means learning to choose wiser, and that wisdom can begin, right now, right here, with something as simple as the fruit on your plate. So let's begin with the fruit that's praised for fighting inflammation, but might actually be fueling it in older bodies. Let's talk about grapefruit. You've probably heard that grapefruit is one of the best fruits for cleansing the body. It's in detox teas, weight loss plans, and heart-healthy diets. But what if I told you that this very fruit, yes, grapefruit, could be silently weakening your muscles, triggering joint pain, and even disrupting your medications without you knowing? Here's the science. Grapefruit contains a natural compound called naringin, which affects an enzyme in your liver known as CYP3A4. This enzyme is responsible for breaking down more than 85 common medications, including those for blood pressure, cholesterol, heart rhythm, and pain relief. When grapefruit blocks that enzyme, it can make your medications too strong or too weak, increase side effects like muscle pain, fatigue, and swelling, elevate drug concentration in your bloodstream, sometimes dangerously. The result? You might think it's aging that's making your legs sore and your joints inflamed. But in reality, it might be that slice of grapefruit on your breakfast plate, quietly interacting with your pills. There's a man I once worked with, Harold, 72 years old. He was doing everything by the book: daily walks, low-sodium meals, statins for cholesterol. Every morning, he had a half grapefruit with his meds, thinking it was the healthy choice. But over time, Harold started experiencing tightness in his calves, strange aches in his thighs, and more fatigue than usual. It wasn't until we reviewed his diet that we spotted the hidden culprit. Once he swapped grapefruit for pears and berries, the difference was remarkable. Let's break it down simply. Naringin blocks liver enzymes, interferes with medications. Especially risky with blood pressure meds, statins, heart rhythm stabilizers. Muscle aches and joint stiffness can be early signs of drug buildup. Even a small amount of grapefruit daily can trigger these effects. It doesn't matter if it's the whole fruit, fresh squeezed juice, or even extract, grapefruit doesn't play nice with many prescriptions. We often think of food as a simple choice: eat this, avoid that. But the older we get, the more nuanced those choices become. Sometimes, a fruit that's good for the general population just isn't right for you. And that's not failure. That's wisdom. You're not giving up on your health by skipping grapefruit. You're choosing to honor your body's needs as they are right now. Now, if a detox superstar like grapefruit can quietly clash with your meds and joints, what about something smaller, like a plum? Let's take a closer look. They're small. They're sweet. And they seem harmless. But if you're over 60 and eating plums regularly, especially for digestion or natural sweetness, you may want to take a second look. Because this innocent-looking fruit can quietly trigger joint discomfort, gastric distress, and even gout flares in ways most people never expect. Plums contain natural sugars like fructose, and sugar alcohols like sorbitol, which can be tough on aging digestive systems. For people with slower metabolism and decreased enzyme efficiency, these compounds can ferment in the gut, causing bloating, pressure, and discomfort. Increase uric acid levels, especially dangerous for those with gout or joint sensitivity. Contribute to systemic inflammation, which often settles in the knees, ankles, or toes. Even the oxalates found in plums, while perfectly tolerable for younger people, can irritate inflamed joints or trigger calcium buildup in soft tissues over time. There's a sweet woman named Grace, 69, retired schoolteacher. She told me she loved plums. Ate them daily. She said they helped keep things moving, as she put it. But she also started noticing unusual stiffness in her knees and a burning ache in her big toe during the night. At first, she blamed it on the weather. But after we gently swapped plums out of her diet, replacing them with blueberries and papaya, the stiffness and that nagging toe pain began to fade, in just under 3 weeks. Here's how plums can silently cause trouble, especially in older bodies. Fructose and sorbitol, hard to digest bloating plus inflammation. Uric acid buildup, raises risk of gout or joint sensitivity. Oxalates, can contribute to joint pain and stiffness. Often mistaken as just aging or weather pain, but it's dietary in origin. And worst of all, you often don't connect the dots, because the pain is delayed, not instant like a bad fall, but a slow tightening over time. Not every sweet treat is sweet to your joints. And just because something comes from nature, doesn't mean it's always the best choice for your body today. You're not being overly careful when you question these habits, you're being attuned, aware, and wise. And that's a powerful kind of health, one that listens, not just reacts. Now that we've looked at a tiny fruit with surprising effects, let's explore one that's even more familiar, and often praised for muscle health. But for aging legs, bananas may not be the friend you think they are. Bananas have long been considered a muscle food. They're in gym bags, breakfast bowls, and post-walk snacks. But here's the surprising truth: if you're over 60, and eating bananas regularly, they might be doing more harm than help, especially when it comes to leg swelling, joint stiffness, and fatigue. Bananas are rich in potassium, which helps regulate muscle function. But they're also high in fast-digesting carbohydrates and natural sugars, particularly sucrose and glucose. In younger bodies, those sugars are burned quickly. But in older adults, they can lead to sudden blood sugar spikes, poor insulin response, fluid retention, especially in the lower limbs, and over time, chronic inflammation in knees, calves, and ankles. Additionally, bananas stimulate aldosterone activity, a hormone that tells your body to hold on to sodium and water. The result? Puffy ankles. Heavier legs. That familiar stiffness when you stand up after sitting too long. Here's what to remember about bananas if you're over 60. Fast sugars spike insulin, trigger inflammation. Stimulate fluid retention, ankle swelling, stiffness. Not ideal if you're inactive or have circulatory issues. One small banana occasionally equals okay, but avoid daily habits without balancing with fiber or protein. Also important, never eat bananas alone on an empty stomach. The sugar rush hits harder and faster that way. Bananas aren't the enemy. But they also aren't the magic muscle food we once thought they were, at least, not for aging legs. In your 60s and beyond, strength comes not just from nutrient, but from how gently those nutrients interact with your changing body. And sometimes, that means saying goodbye to something familiar, so you can say yes to something that truly supports your vitality. Now, if bananas, the supposed muscle helper, can quietly slow your steps, what about mangoes, those golden tropical treats packed with sugar? Let's talk about them next. They taste like sunshine, don't they? Soft, juicy, sweet, mangoes are one of summer's greatest pleasures. But for aging legs and sensitive nerves, that sweetness might come with a hidden cost. Because behind every slice of mango, could be a silent storm brewing in your feet, your calves, and your balance. Here's what many don't realize: mangoes are very high in natural sugar, especially fructose and glucose. And when those sugars flood the bloodstream too quickly, it triggers sudden insulin spikes, nerve irritation, especially in people with prediabetes or neuropathy, low-grade inflammation in the small blood vessels that supply your legs and feet. Over time, this can lead to burning sensations in your toes, tingling or pins and needles in the soles of your feet, a creeping numbness that makes balance harder and walking riskier. In short, mango may taste light and joyful, but for a slower metabolism and fragile circulation, it's a sugar bomb disguised in a fruit. I remember speaking with Helen, a vibrant 68-year-old who loved making mango smoothies in summer. She said, "It feels like I'm drinking health." But over time, she began to feel numbness in her toes, especially at night. Some days, she said it felt like walking on cotton. After reviewing her diet, mango showed up every single day. Once we gently replaced it with papaya and chia pudding, the tingling eased, and her energy returned. Here's why mango may not be a good fit for aging nerves and joints. High sugar load spikes insulin, increases nerve inflammation, can worsen symptoms of peripheral neuropathy, contributes to balance issues due to foot sensitivity. Often consumed in large, blended servings, no fiber buffer sugar hits harder. And remember, you don't have to be diabetic to feel these effects. Many people over 60 have mild insulin resistance, and mango can quietly make it worse. The body you have today deserves a different kind of care than the body you had at 30. What once felt light and lovely, may now feel heavy in your legs or fuzzy in your feet. That's not something to fear. It's something to honor. Listening to your body, even when it means rethinking what you love, isn't restriction. It's respect. So if mango, that golden slice of summer, can stir up nerve pain and slow your steps, what about citrus? What about something smaller, gentler, that's often seen as a daily dose of health? Let's talk about mandarins, and why they may not be as innocent as they seem. Most people see mandarins as innocent little citrus fruits. They're bright, refreshing, easy to peel, and packed with vitamin C. But here's something most don't realize. For older adults, especially those with joint stiffness or arthritis, this tiny fruit might be feeding the very inflammation you're trying to fight. Mandarins are rich in citric acid, the compound that gives them their tangy taste. And while vitamin C is helpful for the immune system, too much acid can irritate the soft tissue inside your joints, particularly if you already have arthritis, chronic inflammation, or poor circulation in your legs. In older bodies, the cartilage in joints becomes thinner and more fragile. When acidic foods are consumed regularly, especially citrus on an empty stomach, it can lead to a burning sensation in the knees, morning stiffness that takes longer to shake off, persistent swelling around ankles and calves. It's not about the sugar, mandarins are relatively low in that. It's the acid load, and how it affects aging joints that are already struggling to stay mobile. Joan, 72, used to eat 2 mandarins every night. She loved the habit, a light sweet finish to dinner, she'd say. But she also started waking up with tightness in her knees and a strange soreness in her hips. She assumed it was arthritis progressing. But once we adjusted her routine, keeping the vitamin C but getting it from broccoli, bell peppers, and kiwi, her mornings felt noticeably lighter. Here's what you need to keep in mind with mandarins. High citric acid irritates joints and soft tissue. Worsens symptoms in people with arthritis or joint pain. Commonly eaten alone or before bed, which increases acid effect. Safer alternatives: low-acid fruits like papaya, blueberries, kiwi. It's not that mandarins are bad. It's that the delivery system matters, especially for joints that are already tired. You've earned the right to move freely, to walk without pain, to get out of bed without wincing. And sometimes, that freedom begins with something as simple as saying, maybe this fruit isn't for me right now. It's not about giving up pleasure. It's about giving your body a better chance to feel good, naturally, gently, and sustainably. So yes, even something as small and cheerful as a mandarin can quietly inflame tired joints. Especially when eaten at the wrong time, or in the wrong way. But here's where things get more complicated. What happens when we combine 2 or even 3 of these harmless fruits in one meal, one smoothie, or one bowl? Let's explore what your body might be going through, without you even noticing. A slice of mango, a few banana coins, a handful of plum, all tossed into one vibrant smoothie. It looks healthy. It tastes delicious. But what if I told you, this innocent mix might be overloading your body, spiking your blood sugar, irritating your joints, and silently draining the strength from your legs? Each fruit on its own may already pose subtle challenges to aging bodies. But when combined, their effects often multiply, not cancel each other out. Here's what happens when you eat multiple problem fruits together. Sugar load spikes. Mango plus banana plus plum equals triple fructose/glucose blood sugar surges. Acid overload. Grapefruit plus mandarin equals high citric acid joint irritation. Mixed digestion. Different fruits digest at different speeds: bloating, sluggish gut, gut-brain fatigue. Result: swollen ankles, aching knees, heaviness in the legs, especially after meals. And unlike candy or soda, fruit doesn't feel unhealthy, so most people don't notice the impact until days or weeks later. I once worked with Alan, 67, a retired pilot. He blended a smoothie every morning with banana, mango, orange juice, and yogurt. He thought it was a powerhouse breakfast. But he complained that by mid-morning, he felt tired in the legs, and had to sit more often. His feet swelled by evening. He assumed it was just aging. When we simplified his breakfast to berries plus protein plus a few seeds, the difference was striking, in just 10 days. Your body speaks quietly in your 60s. It whispers through swelling, stiffness, and slow steps. And sometimes, it's not about what you're eating, but how you're combining the things you believe are good for you. There's no need for guilt. Only gentle awareness. Because healing doesn't require giving up joy, just learning how to enjoy smarter. So now that we've explored what not to mix, let's shift the focus to what will support you: fruits that calm inflammation, nourish circulation, and help bring strength back to your legs, one bite at a time. If certain fruits can quietly steal your strength, others can gently restore it. Because not all sweetness is harmful. Some nourish your joints, calm your nerves, and support the very thing that gives you freedom: your legs. As we age, what our body needs most is stability, in blood sugar, in circulation, and in joint support. The right fruits can deliver that, in the form of fiber, antioxidants, anti-inflammatory compounds, and gentle sugars. Here are a few that stand out. Berries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Low in sugar, high in anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that protect blood vessels and reduce inflammation in knees and ankles. Avocado, yes, it's a fruit. Packed with healthy fats that cushion joints, reduce stiffness, and improve insulin sensitivity. Pears. Gentle sweetness with soluble fiber, keeps your digestion calm and your blood sugar steady. A great choice for an afternoon boost without the crash. Papaya. Contains papain, a natural enzyme that soothes inflammation and supports digestion. It's soft, light, and kind to aging stomachs. Cherries, in moderation. Especially tart cherries, shown to reduce uric acid, which helps with joint pain and gout flare-ups. Here's how to use these fruits wisely. Pair them with protein or healthy fats, e.g., berries plus Greek yogurt, pear plus almond butter. Eat them after meals, not on an empty stomach. Use variety, rotate fruits daily to balance nutrients and avoid food sensitivities. Stick to one serving at a time, even the best fruits can overwhelm if overused. This is not about fear. It's about alignment. At this stage of life, you don't need more intensity. You need more kindness, from food, from habits, and from yourself. Every mindful choice, even as simple as swapping mango for papaya, or banana for berries, is a step toward a body that hurts less and moves more freely. You haven't lost your strength. It's still there. And with the right nourishment, you can feel it return, quietly, consistently, beautifully. So now you know, not just what to avoid, but what to embrace. And that's the most empowering part of aging. Realizing that healing isn't about restriction, it's about choosing what uplifts you. Let's close this journey together, with a simple truth, and a message just for you. When most people think about strong legs, they picture exercise. Walking, squats, resistance bands. But strength, real, lasting strength, doesn't begin in your knees or calves. It begins in your choices. And sometimes, it begins with something as simple as what's on your plate. So let's step back and look at what truly supports strong, pain-free legs after 60. 1. Less sugar, more balance, even from natural sources like fruit. 2. Less acid, more calm, for joints that already carry decades of life. 3. Less guessing, more listening, because your body always whispers before it shouts. It's not about perfection. It's about awareness. And that awareness gives you power, to walk longer, steadier, and with more confidence each day. If your legs have felt weaker lately, if the stairs seem taller, or standing up feels heavier, please know, you're not broken. You're not behind. You're simply ready to pay attention, in a new way. Your strength hasn't left you. It's been waiting. Waiting for you to nourish it differently. And now, you know how. Your strength starts with small choices, and today, you made one. If that felt good, wait until you see what a better breakfast can do for your legs. Click here to watch the next video. Your journey's just getting started.